This is the county number 36 we are visiting since we started Jukwaa Usalama. And I just want to say that it's been a great journey, starting all the way from county number 1 in Mombasa. And everywhere we have visited, we have had very robust critical analysis of the security situations in every county. We start with security meeting, and as you can see, we have had 1.5 hours meeting with our regional and county security team. The idea is to realign our vision, to get security briefing, and to prepare ourselves for really what is very important, which is reorganizing our plans and strategies to deliver to the people of Kenya. It's also followed then by the Jukwaa Usalama Forum itself, where we engage the rest of the county security officers, from the assistant chief, OCSs, SCCs, DCCs, commanders at a different level. And the idea is to make sure that, again, what we have discussed during the security meeting, we firm it up by getting more information and strategies on how to make our counties safe. Kakamega is one of our largest counties in the country, highly populated, with 12 constituencies. And Kakamega is also a very strategic regional headquarters, and therefore very strategic for our country. In terms of economic contribution, a number of factories are here. Farming is a very important economic activity in this county, and there's a lot of business and trade between Kakamega and the neighboring counties. It makes, therefore, Kakamega a very strategic county of interest. And when the Kakamega coughs, many of the areas in the country catch cold. And it's important for us to make sure that this county is safe and this region is safe. The biggest challenge, and I want to speak today for Kakamega, but also for the country, that when I came to office, I was given a brief when I assumed office less than 10 months ago. I think 9 months ago. I was given a brief about the extent of gangs in the country. And at that point in time, there was a real problem in Mumias area, Mumias East, West, and Butere. And then subsequently, there was an incident that happened there during a burial of a former chief, and then followed by also a situation that we found ourselves in, which is, we realized that every politician was now upping their game in terms of recruiting goons and utilizing gangs that are existing for different purposes. Let me say this, and this is globally, as a figure for the country. Whereas in other parts of the country, gangs and goons are prevalent in urban areas. That is places like Nairobi, some parts of Machakos, the urban and peri-urban. In Kiambu, the urban areas. In Kajiado, the urban areas. As I said, in Nakuru, the urban areas. In Mombasa, where is basically urban, and in the fairly urban areas of Kwale. There is something very unique about Western region. It is the prevalence of goons and gangs everywhere, not just in urban areas. From where I came from in Mumias, not Mumias, Busia, to Bungoma, and now here. And the same problem is fairly prevalent in Kitale, which is an impact from the part of the Western region. There is a proliferation of gangs and goons, not just in urban areas, but all the way to rural areas. And this is really not acceptable. And these gangs and goons are being fueled by many factors. Cultural issues, the prevalence of drugs and alcohol. In fact, the acceptability of use of drugs and alcohol. In fact, the defense of Changa is highly defended in this region than any other part of the country. And then now, it is perpetuated by political interest. nearly every political player in Western region has goons or gangs. And this incentivizes the growth and the proliferation of goods. An MCA has up to 100 people that they walk around with and they call their gangs. The scale goes up. MPs up to 200, 300, depending on their capacity, up to 500. The same to county leaders. You now move from 500 to 1,000 to 2,000. And this has actually made goonsism and gangs business become very prevalent because it is paying with a stipend every time there is an event along weekends. Therefore, if we have to dismantle the goons and gangs, we need a full cooperation of the elected and aspiring leaders in this region. This is a conversation. It will not end with Jukwaa Usalama today. I would want to come back to have a meeting with opinion leaders, church leaders, other opinion leaders, other elected and aspiring leaders. We must, all of us, have a honest conversation that we do not want to have any part of Kenya, and particularly our region, become a place where gangs and goons are prevailing. But that does not mean that we will abdicate our responsibility from the security sector. From our security meeting this morning, we have agreed on certain strategies, some which I can explain to the public, some that I do not need to make it to the public, that within the next 1 month, we need to see most of these gang leaders and gangs operating and goons facing the full force of the law, particularly those that are actually engaging in criminal activities. I also extend my plea to leaders that they must be ready to work with us. They must be ready to work with us. And anyone who is maintaining and paying young people to commit criminal offenses, cause disturbances, assault, violence, robberies, we are not just coming for the gang leaders and gangs, but we will also come for you. And it will be very painful because it will be done regardless of your status, your political position. We want to make this country safe. In fact, I dare ask myself, if we allow the situation that is happening in Western Province to continue growing, because it has been here. It's not a phenomenon that has just happened because we came to office or this administration came to office. This is something that has been almost domesticated, and a lot of compromise has been made for the longest. It is the responsibility of government to govern every part of Kenya, not to abdicate its responsibility and give any part of this country or any part of our country to goons and gangs. Therefore, a special security team shall be deployed to this region to cover all the counties in the region up to Trans Nzoia. A lot of good work is now going on in Trans Nzoia. 2 days ago, 175 goons were arrested and taken to court. In the past, we have had situations where judiciary does not understand the seriousness of this issue. In fact, part of the reason why people think that nothing can be done is because sometimes some of these people are arrested, taken to court, and they are released on free bond. And the danger with that is that because we are trying to enforce the law, nobody from the village will come to testify in court if they know that that person is not going to, the courts are not going to take seriously the issues that are related to gangs and goons. For that reason, therefore, we will extend this conversation to the judiciary and the ODPP that we must work together. It is not about us. It is not about executive. It's about the country. And I really, really appreciate some of the magistrates that have done a very good job in other parts of the country to make it very punitive for these people to continue perpetrating the criminal activities that have actually been perpetrating. And therefore, the strategies we are going to put in place must bear fruit. We want to make, you remember when Mumia's East and West issue happened early this year, and the IG sent a special team to do some work. We have had relative calm, but we can do better. We can do better. Our idea is not to pacify. We must actually get rid of, so that the society, we get back to a society where political aspirants with their opponents, political leaders with their competitors, will hold same meeting, speak in same meeting, shake hands and go home in a peaceful environment. We have using a lot of resources. Every time there is a public meeting, there is a political meeting, we are deploying between 50 and 100 police officers to funerals. This is not tenable. Yet in other parts of the country, funerals happen without even a single police officer because this is a very solemn moment and family is trying to bury their loved one. There is no reason why it is being made to become a theater of violence. And I just want to say that we take this, if there's nothing we are going to take from Western region, it is I mean, if there's anything else we will want to see done in this region, and which I want you to follow as we dismantle, it is this issue of goons and guns. And it's going to be very painful. It's going to be painful to the boys and girls, but in most cases it's boys, who are involving themselves in this trade, and it's also going to be painful with those financiers and the people who are trying to maintain them. Now, because of this existence of these gangs who operate during the day as political security and gangs, at night and goons, at night they are actually utilizing their time stealing cows. Places like Butere, for example, cattle theft is very high. And again, a good amount of work was done. A number of guns were confiscated. Some people are in court. And we have said that this crackdown must continue until we end this issue of cattle theft. There is also another big problem in this place, which is the prevalence of changa, particularly this county. Whereas in other counties we deal with adulterated ethanol and other alcohol, types of alcohol that are smuggled from border counties, this county is a leading producer of changa in the Republic. I just want to say that it is the leading in the whole nation. And the danger with this is that most of this brewing of this alcohol is not to the standards of KEBS, it's not licensed, and therefore, some of it is done industrial scale and sold in the neighboring counties. I want to say that, again, a lot of good job has been done. We have netted in 6 months, in 8 months, over 30,000 liters of changa that have been confiscated, abandoned by the people. People have been charged. A good number of the suspects have been charged, and the work is going on to make sure that we deal with this issue. Also, that includes drugs, particularly marijuana. In some parts of this county, there is a level of acceptability of marijuana in some parts, especially bordering Vihiga County and other places. And a lot of work is going to be done and continues to be done to deal with the large-scale producers and distributors of bhang in this county. The third issue that is of great concern is defilement. Just like Busia and Bungoma and this county, defilement cases are really alarming, you know, to the rate of 18, 15 per month. You know, there have been over 100 defilement cases in the last 8 months. That should tell you something about the prevalence of this act. This is being fueled by, part of it is this alcohol and drugs. The second one is cultural activities, particularly disco matanga. Disco matanga is also a behavior that we really need to deal with. In fact, I dare tell you that disco matanga is also contributing to, and these cultural activities around funerals is contributing to theft, because people leave their whole homes, all of them, to go for funeral the entire day, and then followed by a disco matanga. And then they leave their homes unattended to. Then the gangs and the criminals and robbers know that there is a level of vulnerability. They come and steal from people's homes. But more importantly, let me say that as a result of this issue, we have defilements that are perpetuated by disco matanga. The third issue is that there is concealment and the acceptability within community that even where an uncle defiles their own nieces, it is just the family will conceal, cover up, and they try to not to cooperate with the law enforcement agencies. We shall be having a honest conversation with our chiefs and assistant chiefs on what role they should play in terms of exposing these cases. We also want to have a conversation with the county government to see whether they can expand rescue centers where these defiled young girls are going to be rescued and put into, particularly when their cases are ongoing, and also the case of gender-based violence. Although they're not a very big scale, but they are there, and we want to see how best we can be able to deal with these issues. The other issues of land fraud, succession problems that are spilling over to become security issues, we are going to work together with the Ministry of Lands to deal with this issue, and officers that are involving themselves in fraudulent activities shall be dealt with. This is a summary of the top security issues in this county. We are happy that a lot of work is being done by the security team. They have requested us to bolster their strength and resources. They can be able to deal with the numbers in this county, and we are going to work on that, including in the next recruitment that is coming, and also in the procurement of the leased vehicles that is being undertaken between us and Treasury, and hopefully this will seal the loopholes and the problems that we have. Our target as a security sector is that by the time we are going to the next elections, this county will not be in any way be declared as an hotspot for violence. It shall be peaceful because we will have gotten rid of all the goons and the political gangsters that are causing havoc in meetings and public functions. And that is what I wish to say in summary. I'll take 3 questions. You so introduce yourself, your media house, and then you respond.
Waziri, jina langu naitwa Sajida Jaman, nafanya kazi na inaitwa Jukwaa FM Radio. Jukwaa FM iko kwenye mpaka wa eneo bunge la Shinyalu na Malava. Na umezungumzia kuhusiana na swala la wahuni bora kutumika na wanasiasa. Eneo bunge la Malava tarehe 27 Novemba linashuhudia uchaguzi mdogo. Na viongozi mirengo yote serikali na upinzani watakuwa kule. Kama waziri msika usalama ni hakikisho lipi ambalo watatia wakazi wa Malava na pia kisa mashariki kule Kusero.
Ninajua kwamba kwa ile uchaguzi utakuwepo tarehe 27 mwezi wa 11. Tuko na eneo mbili itakuwa na uchaguzi katika kaunti hii. Eneo la bunge la Malava na wodi ya kule Kuisero. Ningependa kusema kwamba mikakati kama vile tunafanya kwa uchaguzi zote, mikakati imewekwa tayari na itaendelea kuwekwa kuhakikisha kwamba mambo ya usalama imewekwa kipaumbele. Ninawaomba washindani wote wahakikishe ya kwamba wanafuata sheria na wanafanya mashindano yao kwa njia ya amani. Tunasema kwamba ningependa kuwaona vyama vyote wakifanya mikutano yao hata saa zingine pamoja kwa njia ya amani bila kuleta malumbano na vita. Na ninataka niwahakikishie kwamba wale watatembea na wauni na watu wa kutoa vita na kupiga watu, tutahakikisha kwamba wote wameshikwa, pamoja na wale ambao wanawapatia pesa, pamoja na wale ambao wanawasaidia kuwaleta kwa sehemu mbalimbali. Tuhakikisha even transporters, I want to warn wale wanafanya transport, whether it is motorcycle or a boda or a vehicle being used, we will confiscate your items to make sure that we deal with this issue with finality. Asante sana.
Waziri, jina langu naitwa William Akos, nafanya na NTV.
William,
kuna maswali mawili.
Okay.
Kuna madai swala la juba la kule kwamba wale wanajeshi ambao kuja kule wameweza kusababisha kwamba masomo hayaendelee. Baadhi ya shule zimefungwa. Swali langu la pili ni kuhusiana na Hillside School. Sijui Indarasha Hillside. Indarasha. Yeah, sijui uchunguzi ulifikia wapi, kuna yote pengine aliwahi ameshakamatwa, na kufikia sasa nini ambacho pengine kinaendelea?
Kwanza ningependa kusema kwa ile ya Indarasha, nadhani nilijibu hiyo swali nikiwa Nyeri na Murang'a, na ile unfortunate situation ya shule iliyochomeka, process ya sheria ilienda, ODPP alisema inquest ifanywe, file ilitumwa kwa magistrate na iko tayari kuanzisha inquest kuhakikisha imejulikana ni nini ilifanyika. So tutangojea wote, na nilidhani jana ilirudiwa katika vyombo vya habari kwamba yale maneno nilisema nikiwa Nyeri ya kwamba process ya sheria bado inaendelea, kwa sababu sasa iko kwa magistrate na inquest itafanywa, na hiyo inquest ndio itatusaidia kujua ni nini haswa ilifanyika. Kwa hivyo inaongozwa sasa na idara ya mahakama kufanya ile inquest kujua ya kwamba ni nini haswa ilifanyika. Lakini tunaendelea kuwafariji wale walipoteza watoto wao. Ni jambo la kusikitisha sana, na pia kwa sababu kama wizara tumekuwa kibao mbele kuhamasisha watu kuhusu mambo ya disaster kwa Kiswahili inaitwa janga tofauti ya kila aina, kama ni ya moto, maji na yoyote ambayo inaweza tokea. Ni kwamba sisi kama nchi bado tuko mbali kidogo, haswa katika kaunti zetu, kuwa na vyombo vya kuzima moto, kuwa na ambulance ya kutosha, kuwa na uwezo ule tukipata janga lolote tunaweza kujisaidia sisi wenyewe kwa mashinani. Na hiyo nadhani kwamba ile shida tulipata kwa Endarasha lazima ikuwe funzo kwa sisi wote, kwa idara ya elimu, idara zote, sehemu zozote katika taifa letu, kwamba ni lazima tuweke kipaumbele mambo ya disaster management. Na ukienda budgets za counties, na unajua disaster management is a devolved function, although tunafanya pamoja national government. Ukienda budgets za county government, county departments za disaster, hakuna kitu. Uenda usome disaster management plan. Hata national government hatuweki kipaumbele mambo ya disaster management. Kwa hivyo ningependa kusema kwamba shida kubwa ambayo tunang'ang'ania ama tunapigana nayo sisi wote kama taifa ni kwamba lazima tukue na proper disaster preparedness kama nchi, ili kukabiliana na mambo disaster yoyote yenye inaweza kutokea. Katika ile mambo ya border protection huko Mandera, niliongea juzi na ningependa kurudia tena kusema kwamba taifa letu liko salama sana. Hakuna wasiwasi yoyote ambayo unaweza kusema kuna wanajeshi wa nchi zingine ama regions za nchi zingine ambao wamekuja Kenya kudhoofisha mambo ya usalama. Hakuna kabisa. Ningependa kusema hakuna mtu yoyote kutoka nchi nyingine amekuja Kenya kwa minajili ya kuja kupigana na Wakenya ama kupigana na Kenya. Hakuna kabisa. Na nilisema kwamba kila mara tunapokuwa na shida katika nchi jirani, unapata kwamba wananchi wanatorokea upande za Kenya, wengine wakikuja upande huu wanatafuta usalama. Ni ile kwamba nchi yetu iko salama. Na tunashirikiana na nchi jirani kuona kwamba wale watatorokea Kenya kwa kuhofia usalama wao, huwa wanarudisha kwa njia ya usalama. Kwanza ningependa kusema kwamba enemy ambayo tunaendelea kupigana nayo ni Al-Shabaab. Hawa ndio terror group ambayo imetusumbua kwa miaka mingi sana. Sisi hatupigani kama nchi na nchi ya Somalia, hatupigani na region yoyote ya Somalia. Sisi tunapigana na adui moja ambaye ni Al-Shabaab. Na kwa hivyo wale ambao nimeona wengine ambao wamewahi kuwa katika ofisi za uongozi katika taifa letu wakiongea kiholela kwa mambo ya usalama. Hakuna mtu anaweza kuongea kiholela kama umewahi kuwa na ofisi hapo awali. Haiwezekani. Na mimi nataka kushukuru former waziri Matiang'i kwa sababu amejiweka kwa njia ambayo ameheshimu ile ofisi amewahi kuwa waziri kama mimi. Hakuna siku nitatoka hiyo ofisi alafu wakati muda wangu umeisha nimetoka kwa hiyo ofisi niende niongee kiholela kuhusu security ya nchi. Nimeona wale wamewahi kushika ofisi za juu. Vice President Kalonzo, former Vice President wa Munyoro, wanaenda kuongea uko nje kiholela mambo ya usalama. Wanatafutia siasa ya pesa nani mambo ya usalama. Kweli tumekuwa na bahati mbaya kwamba watu kama hawa wamewahi kukaa kwa National Security Council. Mtu umewahi kukaa kwa National Security Committee you know, huwezi enda kuongea kiolela mambo ya uongo ili kuharibia nchi yako. Mimi nataka kusema hapa wazi, Kenya is not under any threat from Somalia or any regional force from Somalia. The only threat we face as a country is the threat of Al-Shabaab. And every time our neighbors have any challenge, we have been able to accommodate any of the citizens of Somalia who have come to Kenya and return them in the right way. Some whom have been able to be returned have been accommodated in Dadaab refugee camp. There has never been a threat. And I want to insist here, Kenya is not under occupation. You know, I see some lawyers speaking very in a casual manner. When you say there are occupation of forces from other country in our country, it means they have come in to invade us and cause and take over. We are absolutely, there is no one in Kenya that is in Kenya where, to occupy any part of the country without the Kenyan forces fighting them. And that's why any part we see an Al-Shabaab operative, we have been fighting them. Any other person who has come to look for safety, we have always found ways of returning them back to their country. Again, I want to reiterate that the security team that has gone to the media team that I saw some of the news items that some of your journalists went there. I saw them reporting from primary school in Mandera, reporting, interviewing our administrators in that region, and I didn't see any results to see that our schools are occupied or our people are under threat. Our country is safe, very safe, and I insist, very, very safe. We are not under occupation. And those who are just speaking in a very casual manner, occupation is a technical term. That means a takeover by a foreign force on any part of Kenya. There is none. And there is nothing that is happening in the country that we don't know. And there is nothing that is happening in this country that is happening and we are not handling in the right way, in the security way. All we are more focused in is to deal with criminals and to deal with Al-Shabaab as a terror cell. And we are not going to lift our focus from that issue. Any other diplomatic issues related to citizens of other country coming in or officers from other country, if they are found to Kenya, there is a diplomatic channel between us and Somalia or any region of Somalia to make sure that that is sorted. Kenya is safe and working with its partners to make sure that we continue dealing with the threat of terrorism, especially of Al-Shabaab. And we are very focused. In any case, the people who have been speaking have been talking about that we are in conversation with Al-Shabaab. So they need to calculate their statements properly. One hand, they say the government of Kenya has talked to Al-Shabaab. Now they are jumping. They are saying that, no, it's not Al-Shabaab. We are talking to the enemies of Al-Shabaab. So they need to tell us, are they with Al-Shabaab or are they with the citizens of Kenya? And this cheap politics that is being done using security must stop. And I want to remind former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka and the former Deputy President, together with all those people who are speaking, especially persons who have held offices. I see the former Attorney General sitting there. He was a member of the National Security Team. I see sitting there former Minister Matiang'i of Interior, the National Security Team. Former Vice President Kalonzo has sat in National Security Team. Former Vice President Wamunyoro has sat in National Security Team. They must conduct themselves in a manner that demonstrates that they understand, even though they have personal challenges with leadership, they must also not struggle with the question of security. They must understand that this is not a sector that you can play political sport. So for our people, for our citizens in Mandela, everything is in order. We will, if there is any challenges of any person who is spotted in our country, civilian or otherwise, that have visited our nation, you know that we are going to deal with those issues, and we have always dealt with. But at the moment, our country is safe. The last, you are asked two questions. Yeah, and I've answered. Yeah. So the last two questions.
I would really want to ask a question. Lady, yeah. Yeah, sure. So my name is Violet Auma. I work with TV47 in Kakamega County. Sometime back, we covered a story over a police post that has only one police officer. Yeah. Are you aware that we have police stations or police posts that have less police officers? Absolutely. Do you have plans to deploy more? Yeah,
that's true. We have genuine challenges of strength of police officers because of the numbers that have subsequently reduced over time with when we have not done recruitment. The good news is that we are recruiting 10,000 police officers, and that information will go out next week. You will be told about the dates and the processes of recruitment. We will also make sure that the recruitment will be free and fair of this influence of corruption and so forth. And once we do that, it will increase the strength of our police officers. That is actually the crux of Jukwaa Usalama. These issues have continuously being raised. We also have police stations that whose strength, some of the officers are struggling with mental health, alcohol, and so forth. And we have the IG has given directions. I also give policy directions that all officers that are deployed must be of right mental health, and those who are struggling with alcohol abuse and so forth or addiction, they must be taken to rehabilitation center, and those who have mental health challenges must also be attended to, so that we have officers that are going to do the job that they are supposed to do. Yes, Maina, and then last. That's up.
Yeah, my name is Divasuman from KBC. On the Mandera issue, you've said those could be the people seeking safety and refuge in our country. Maybe you could provide their current status as now. How are you treating them? Are you treating them as refugees? Where are you keeping them for their safety? How are they being provided with their basic needs, shelter? Where are they being housed? And those kinds of things.
At the moment, I can say without fear of contradiction that we don't have people in the country. That I can say that without fear of any contradiction, that there are no citizens of foreign forces that are in the country as we speak. And that I saw was covered by your news, media and so forth. And that and that's why I say it, sometimes when citizens or anybody is coming to seek for refuge in Kenya, there always are modalities and processes that we engage in, including profiling and identifying the areas they will go and so forth and so forth. But at the moment, we don't have existence of those foreign forces. And we also don't have anybody in Kenya that is in Kenya to come and arm us, except the Al-Shabaab that we are dealing with. And that remains our constant threat. And we will work together with our neighbors and our brothers in Somalia to make sure that this issue is being dealt with decisively. So for avoidance of doubt, as I said the other day, if there is any citizen from other country that has come to our nation, investigations will be done to establish if they are. But so far, we don't have them. And we have a very peaceful nation, very peaceful country. Sometimes I saw some citizens saying that there are some officers from the neighboring country who are close to our border. We will also have to speak to them to make sure that the activities around our border, even however close it is, must not affect our side of the border. And therefore, the national, our Ministry of Defense and our National Defense Forces have the capacity to handle that issue effectively. But speaking as a Minister of Interior, internally we are safe, except the constant threat of Al-Shabaab that we are dealing with every day. Last one.
Thank you, sir. My name is Brian Bitinyo, working for SMFM here in Kakamega. My question just concern about umezungumzia kuhusu mambo na goons. Katika visa vya hivi karibuni tumeona mikutano ya watu ama ya viongozi wa upinzani ikivurugwa kwa njia moja ama nyingine, wengine wakilalamikia kwamba wamekuwa chini ya usimamizi wa maafisa wako wa usalama. Leo hii ukiwa hapa Kakamega unawahakikishia vipi?
Nahakikisha kwamba ofisi ya usalama haijui nani ni opposition, nani yako serikali. Kazi yetu ni kupambana na majangili na wakora na goons na gangs, na tutafanya hivyo haijalishi uko kwa upande wa serikali ama uko upande wa opposition. So kila mtu akuwe tayari kufuata sheria, na ukifuata sheria uongee na security team, seek the necessary notifications, utapewa security ufanye mikutano yako. Hakuna haja kwenda kutafuta majangili wakuja wa kusimamia kwa mkutano. Wewe ukileta notification kwa national police officers who are here and the security team in the county and region, haijalishi huko upande kwani wa siasa, tutapatia wananchi ulinzi ya kutosha ili mkutano iendelee. Lakini kuna wengi ambao wanajaribu kufanya mikutano kiholela na wamebebana na magengi na majangili. Hiyo hatutakubali na tutasimama imara. Asante sana.
Country, one of the ingredients that is that the government needs to invest in is water. Currently, over 90% of our agriculture depends on rainfall for them to survive, and that is why if you look at the total arable land, only 30% are able to produce the food that is required. That is why we are talking about, if you look at the net effect of the amount of dollars that we are using, because we are importing we are using nearly $1 trillion to import food. When you go to rice, when we go to wheat, when you go to oil, all those are deficits. And the ones now we use as a foreign exchange earner, like tea and coffee, if you look at the net effect, we become a net importer. So the best thing we need to do as a country is how do you utilize the 70% that is arable or land that cannot be used because of lack of water. So we need to really invest on irrigation, so that we can be able to irrigate quite a lot of land. Look at the entire Turkana, look at the entire northeastern, even some parts of coast. The soils are good, everything is good. The only thing that is lacking is water, and it is not that we lack water, but we lack means of getting the water to our shambas so that they can be able to produce. So I believe if we can have an engagement whereby we can focus most on agriculture through irrigation, I can tell you, this country we have enough land to be able to feed ourselves. So those are the things that as we come here to the Mombasa ASK show, we need to be asking ourselves. And as a committee of agriculture, through the chairmanship of Honorable Mutunga, is that we have done a lot. We have done a lot in terms of legislation. We have done a lot in terms of regulations. We are even now developing a program where we can now go to the mashinani to check these resources we are bumping into these MDS and the things they are saying that they are doing. You know, sometimes things can be done on paper, but when you go there practically, you will feel that they are not being filled. So we shall be felt now.